Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 6 of Ultimate Exotics, the review series for the ultimate supercars that are featured of course on Gran Turismo 6. And in this episode we're featuring a supercar which is probably one of the most common, but at the same time most obscure supercars in the game. Now how can that be? It can't be both at the same time, surely. But the reason why I say that is because this is one of the very, very few supercars on Gran Turismo 6 that you can actually win in career mode. And so, a lot of people do actually own this car. But it's still obscure, as I also said, because of those people that do own the car, hardly anyone seems to actually get a decent amount of use out of it. Now, why is that? Because on paper it sounds like an awesome car. The looks, for a start, are like nothing else on the game. Now, we now have, of course, the Vision Gran Turismo program, so getting crazy, wacky looking cars has become almost mainstream for most users. We've come to expect that from the Vision Gran Turismo program. But back when the GTbyCitroën was first developed, there was no Vision GT program. And in effect, this was kind of the original Vision GT car. They did it when nobody else had. And the problem for Citroen, specifically this car, because of that, is people get bored of things that have been out for a while. And especially when you have something like the Vision GT program where you're getting new cars fairly regularly, the original models tend to get forgotten and less appreciated, such as with the Citroen. But the fact is, of the Vision GT car style vehicles, it's one of the best you can get. So what does it actually have to offer? Now, this is the road version, fairly obviously, because you cannot paint the concept version. The concept version is, of course, a fully electric vehicle, and I will be doing an episode for the electric version, because it is a brilliant car in its own right. But in this episode, we're featuring the V8-powered road version, or what was intended to be the road version. Of course, they never actually made a production version out of it, which is a shame, really. So what does it have to offer? Well, the engine is mid-mounted, powers the rear wheels, and the engine, I believe, is a Ford unit. I believe it was a 5.4 litre V8, possibly a Mustang engine, if my memory serves me correctly. And in real life, I have to say, it's one of the best sounding cars ever made, in my opinion. Not necessarily at full chat, but just purely idling. It sounds incredible. Now, if you've never heard the car, I'm actually going to put a link to a YouTube video underneath this video, not in the description, but in the comments, to a video which is, it's not one of my videos, but I don't care. You've got to hear this car. If you've never heard it before, you're in for a treat, because it sounds awesome. Now, that engine produces fully tuned a respectable 898 horsepower, thanks to a turbocharger. And it also produces 606 pound-feet of torque. So, not necessarily the biggest numbers of any supercar in the game, but still more than enough to give it supercar performance. It weighs perhaps a little bit more than you might expect at 1,319 kilos, which for a supercar with the full weight loss package is heavier than some, but still by no means heavy. And the power to weight ratio is 681 horsepower per tonne. Incidentally, the PP, when fully tuned, is a perhaps surprisingly high 654. And that's serious territory. You can get some pretty quick and dominating all-round machines at that level, including full-on race cars. So what does this car have to offer compared to those vehicles, both other supercars and other vehicles at that PP level? Well, it has quite a lot to offer, actually. In terms of pure straight-line performance, it's a lot quicker than people give it credit for, and there is a reason for that. Now, the acceleration off the line is very good. Among the quickest, actually, and very, very good for its power. It's actually far quicker than you'd expect it to be for its power and weight. The top speed is also a lot better, as I said, than many people think. It's in the high 280s to the low 290s when fully tuned, which is pretty good for an under 900 horsepower car. But the reason why people don't use this for top speed racing that much is because of the handling. And if you've ever tuned one of these and tried to take it around Special Stage Route X, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty much the worst handling supercar in the game once you get up to those kind of speeds, because the front end becomes extremely light and the car just starts to weave uncontrollably all over the road, so much so that you just cannot drive it even in a straight line. Now that can be fixed. In fact, all you have to do is raise the front ride height and it almost completely neutralises that issue. But most people, or many people, don't realise that. But what about around the track? Well, the handling around the track is actually challenging, but very, very competitive. The handling is very sharp, the turning is very good. You do have to be careful a bit of the slippery back end, but overall it's a highly competitive machine. And the value for money is brilliant, because technically you don't even have to buy it. So it's one of the best value for money supercars, if not the best, in the game. So overall, if you haven't taken this out of your garage and dusted it off in a while, I'd recommend that you give it a go, because it's a lot better than you might remember. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.